how to sell that price, okay? Because expensive and cheap and anything in between is going to always just be based on perception, okay? So a lot of people talk about like, the market determining the price of something, and that can definitely, be the case for the general populace of people, you might do business with. It's like the Walmart providers, the McDonald's provider, where things are a certain price. So if you opened up a fast food restaurant and served the exact same quality food as McDonald's, you're going to have a lot of issues charging, 3 or 4 times the price for the same quality of food. Now, the way people can do things like, in that type of fashion is how they position it. What type of experience are they delivering? But again, they're gonna have a lot of issues doing that. So I want to talk about positioning the price, how to create a lot more value for the end user without actually modifying your services at all. Stuff like that. It's some people don't think this is the most attractive set of topics, but once you can start implementing some of these things into your proposals, into your sales process, it doesn't take kind of like a veteran salesperson to start really being able to generate revenue using these tactics. So again, guys, I'm going to try to keep this somewhat short so I have plenty of time for Q&A. And although because of people having issues getting on, they might not be as much of that as we thought, but hey, you win some, you lose some. So the first thing I'm going over is going to be review for some of you. I talk about this in a blog post. I'm actually going to show you a screenshot of the blog post. And it doesn't matter if you guys are selling SEO, marketing consulting. It doesn't matter what you're selling. You need to have some type of pricing matrix for your service. Okay, if you want to create a scalable sales system, you can't do a high level customized pricing for every single client, or at least you have to have some type of a scalable foundation, right? So if you're selling SEO, there has to be some type of customization for everything. What if you have a client that has, let's say their site was hacked and it was injected with just hundreds of spam pages and the quality score is just terrible because of that. Google ripped it out of its index. It's obviously going to be quite a different dynamic than if someone calls you and they're doing really well at like the top of page 2 and they just need that extra push. But at the end of the day, you need a foundational pricing system. So I advise everyone to create a pricing matrix. Okay, here's an old pricing matrix. My prices have went up since then. I'm now at a $2,250 to $2,500 a month minimum for all new clients. But this can give you a good idea of how to start establishing some type of foundation for your pricing. So in this matrix, this is for SEO, and I took the largest cities and the most competitive niches, and that went in the top tier. And I said, hey, and again, guys, this was made almost 2 years ago. My pricing has exponentially increased since then. I scaled my agency. I dropped a lot of my lower dollar clients. This was back when my minimum was a $9.99 a month, okay? And that's the bottom two. You guys see 500 and 500, $9.99, okay? Obviously, it's 1,000, but that was my positioning for low-end clients. I had a $9.99 minimum. I wouldn't take clients under that price. And that's, like I said, if you have a locksmith in Plano or a gutter cleaning guy in Toledo, a carpet cleaning person in, Pittsburgh, they're gonna be around the $9.99 mark. And obviously, anything you need to add on to that, if there's a hacked site, if there's severe over-optimization, potential penalties, the list goes on. They need a new website. All of that stuff can be added on additionally. Or if they sign a contract, you could start throwing stuff in as a value add, what have you. And then you get to like a lawyer in Philly. Back then I was at a 2,500 a month minimum for something like that. Nowadays it's a very, very different ball game. So keep in mind when you're looking at this stuff, the numbers are arbitrary. Okay, plug your own numbers in here. Right now, if a lawyer from Philly called me, it would be a 5,000 a month minimum, and I would be very upfront about that as well. That'd be something I'd drop on the first phone call just to qualify them, make sure they're okay with paying a bit of a higher, price point for my service. Even if a lawyer, if a lawyer anywhere called me, it's very rare I'm taking a lawyer for less than, 3,500, 3,250 a month. I just don't do it. they have the revenue they generate from my service is going to justify 5 or 10 thousand a month. So, I'm just not in the business of cutting myself short anymore. What numbers you guys plug in here is up to you. And I love this system because it makes things scalable. So if you say, hey, if I have a mid-level comp, you can even deduce this into an even more simple form and say, listen, we're going to have 3 packages, and one's going to be for low comp, the second's going to be for mid comp, and the third's going to be a high comp package. Okay, if that makes sense. So, and the mid comp and everything can be, you can kind of apply this where it fits. So if you have a little bit bigger of a city, but someone wants to do, oh, I don't know, like a mobile car wash, SEO for a mobile car wash. Granted, if you've listened to any of my other sales videos or marketing videos, you're probably not even accepting clients like that because the customer lifetime value isn't quite where you want it. But, if you would happen to entertain a client at that level, you need to kind of, you need to have like a lower comp package. They're obviously not going to pay, several $1,000s a month. Honestly, with that specific example, I'm not even sure they'd have a budget for marketing, but it was just an over-exaggerated example, guys. If you're going to have a lower comp package, the city and niche isn't really going to coincide quite as much. For instance, if where we have our actual office for the digital marketing agency, a lawyer around here you're not going to be able to justify charging them $3 or $5 or $10,000 a month. There just isn't enough search volume, right? There's not enough population to justify that many people seeing the ranking, the listing ranking, and then converting into a client for the attorney. So this is all just a foundation for you guys, but just this is a perfect place to start. I know a lot of people have issues just with pricing their services, and it's very simple. For me, again, I set my minimum up to around 2250 to 2500 a month. There are still a very select few that come through referrals that I'll bring on for 1500, but I do so with the understanding that they do not get support for that price tag. They're not going to be calling me. We're not going to be going over a bunch of a bunch of fluctuations and whatnot over the month. The 1500 is, hey, we're going to rank you for your desired keywords within 6 months, and we add the guarantees and whatnot. So it's how I run my agency. Again, I'm not saying everyone needs to raise their prices, but you should. But just setting up a pricing matrix can be an incredible start. I think that's where everyone should start. All right. So now that the boring part's over, I want to show you guys how to position your services like a boss. This is going to be, and again, guys, we're already. This is the 2 out of 3. I'm going to show you guys 3 things today. I'm going to show you a bunch of things tomorrow. I'm going to make like a little mini series out of this, so it's not super long-winded. You guys will be able to, really ask some questions. We can chat about some acquisition and stuff at the end of this Webby. But positioning your services like a boss. This is my favorite. One of my favorites. And you guys can implement this for reporting for existing clients. If you guys are building proposals and you want to have a lot of line items, it looks good. So I see so many agencies, so many people that say, hey, they might have like a list of things they're going to do for a certain price, and they'll say, hey, like we're going to do SEO ranking, or we're going to do link building and SEO and whatnot, and we're going to do quote unquote content marketing. That's still always a hot buzzword. We'll do local GMB optimization. We'll do this. We'll do that, right? And it sounds good. They might have a list of 3 or 5 or 10 line items, all just vague, local GMB optimization. So when I want to really articulate the value I'm going to be delivering someone, and this is the same concept for reporting. If I send the client a report and say, hey, you know what we did this month? We did your local GMB optimization. It's like, okay, that's cool. It took you guys all month. There starts, a ton of questions can stem from that. Are they really getting the value that they're paying for? And again, I know a lot of people will say, hey, we're not selling them reports and this and that. We're selling them the promised results. And I completely agree. But at the end of the day, any of you that really run a decent-sized agency and deal with a lot of clients, that it's not that simple. There has to be reporting measures in place. And people want to know what they're spending their money on. And in month 4 and month 5, if they're not seeing the results you promised in 6 months, they're going to say, hey, well, what did I spend the past, $15,000 on or $20,000? People are going to want to see that. They're going to want to kind of quantify the amount of money they're spending as opposed to the results they're getting. People people will also be a lot less strict if if you say, hey, we fell a little short of the you know of the goal, but here's what we got done. People are going to say, well, hey, I really feel like I got my money's worth. Let's see what the seventh month looks like, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to leverage the work you did to kind of charge more money, get referrals, buy yourself some more time if something just isn't quite on schedule. So instead of writing local GMB optimization, here's what I'm giving them. And this is going to be like a big wall of text. I'll give you guys plenty of time to walk through this. And I'm going to give you guys a little more background on where I swipe this technique from and kind of why it works so well. So instead of writing local GMB optimization, here's what they're getting. Whoops, sorry guys. Here's what they're getting. This is the local GMB optimization, okay? It's Do you guys notice the difference there? I mean, obviously you notice the difference. I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence, right? But instead of writing, we're going to do local GMB optimization, or saying, hey, last month we did local GMB optimization. I'm saying GMB optimization. No one on the planet does it like this, and I'm giving them 13 line items. Now, if you just read through this, does any of this sound like it's something you'd want to do? Or are you going to just look at this and say, holy hell, I'm glad I'm paying these guys to do this and I'm not having to worry about this in my day-to-day, marketing, or, implementing this in my day-to-day business, right? It's huge. So I pulled this concept from the Schlitz Beer Company. If anyone, anyone familiar with that term, the Schlitz Beer Company? It's if you ever read anything from like Dan Kennedy, you probably would have heard about it. I'm not sure if anyone, give me a one if you guys ever heard of the Schlitz Beer Company and how that. Chad, yeah, cool. Anyone else? You guys know where that's from, or do you guys want me to give a little background on that? Just throw me a 657,132 if you ever heard of the Schlitz Beer Company and how that pertains to marketing. I'm kidding. Sorry, this is a terrible sense of humor. So basically, the Schlitz Beer Company was struggling. I think they were fifth or whatever. They were just having issues with their growth, and I can't remember the marketer's name, but he went in there. It's a very famous marketer. Dan Kennedy talks about the entire thing. I don't think Dan Kennedy was the actual marketer that did it, though. I think he just talked about it. I could be wrong. Whatever. So people came in. Sorry, they hired. Damn it. Sorry, guys. I got distracted by the question bar being messed up. Milwaukee's best beer. I actually never heard it. Great J. Abraham story. Yeah, I guess every marketer tells that story. But for those of who don't know, the Schlitz Beer Company was like number 5. They were competing. They were having they were having like stagnated growth. And the marketer, I don't remember if it was actually Dan or some other marketer they just talked about. He went through a tour of the facility before he started doing their marketing, and he was like blown away by it. They had like these huge wells like drilled extra deep to get a specific like quality of water you can only get at certain depths, and they had all these different rooms that like pool. Just it was crazy. And honestly, it's the guy, they told him, Schlitz said, this isn't anything that any good brewery doesn't do. But no good brewery was really talking about it, right? So instead of saying, hey, we have the best beer, we have the cleanest beer, we have the most professionally distilled beer, I'm not sure of the nomenclature and the language and whatnot that goes with brewing, but instead of saying, hey, we have the best, they started like piecing apart what they did and kind of telling the public about how they performed this brewing process and the different things they had in place. And you can say, instead of saying like chocolate tastes good, our chocolate tastes the best, right? They actually went through this process. They took people on a journey through the experience of how they create this, how they brew this beer, and why it makes it so good. Claude Hopkins, nice share, Wayne. That's right. Claude Hopkins was the actual ad guy, and then everyone just talked about it. But yeah, so this is the concept. This is the Claude Hopkins. Instead of Schlitz beer, I'm going to call it the Claude Hopkins concept, where instead of just saying, hey, we're going to do this, right? Take people on a journey, like break it out. And this can be applied to any niche. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You'd have to work really hard to find a niche where this doesn't apply. Like maybe like even I was just going to use locksmith as a niche it wouldn't work in, but honestly, if you give details on what tools you use to prevent lock damage or prevent, car door damage as you're popping the lock, and, it's no tool that no one else isn't using. But if you're just taking, like, listen, you're going to have the best experience with me because we use this type of tool for this type of entries. And I mean, the sky's the limit with this stuff. The Claude Hopkins experience, it's perfect. Use it for any niche. Construction, it can be great for construction because, instead of saying, hey, here's what we're going to do and here's how much it costs, you can say, listen, we're going to use this type of specific wood, a 2x6, to make sure your exterior walls are sturdy. And it's like a framer would look at that and be like, well, of course you frame your exterior walls with 2x6s, right? Like that's nothing out of the norm inside the industry. But when you have that mapped out on paper or in a proposal and your prospects looking at it, it's like, wow, well, none of these other guys say they're using this special, I can't even think of the names for it. It's like the pressure treated, exterior 2x6s. It's like no one else is telling me they're using this. And you can get into detail about the exterior weather wrap and everything. It's like having that broke out. Plus, it makes a task. I mean, granted, the local optimization is no simple task, but when you say we did your local GMB optimization, just because it's one line item from a psychological perspective, it's going to be considered a simple task, and it's not. Break it out. Let people see. Like, a business owner is going to look at this and not even understand half of it. Now, there might be some questions that come from it, so be prepared for that. But at the same time, people are going to be blown away by this type of stuff. And this is just one thing. Imagine if you did the GMB optimization and, you went and did some link building and so you set up like an IFTTT network. I actually have one of these for that. So, to make this more actionable, every one of your services, go back through it and start breaking this out. You want to start implementing this for your reporting. You want to start using this in your proposals for line items. Sorry. You want to use this for in your sales process. There's no point in saying, hey, I do these 5 things, when in all due reality, each one of those 5 things could have 10, 13, 20 line items. And it really separates you from your competition, because if your competition is not doing this, it looks like apples and oranges when someone's making a purchasing decision. And it's also going to allow you to demand a higher price. Someone else that might do GMB optimization, and how they might do it better than you, let's be honest, they might even do a few extra steps. They might really have it dialed in to where they're doing just maybe 3 or 4 or 5, 10 extra things that you're not doing. But they're not saying that. We just say, hey, we have a really good GMB optimization service. And it's like, okay, it's just incredible. It's all about positioning. Everything you do, guys, is going to be about positioning and how you articulate what you're doing to a client. It's going to determine the prices you charge, and it's going to determine if they pick you over some other, Tom, Dick, or Harry. So use this stuff, guys. And it does take time. I understand it's a time-consuming thing, but you can, you're going to increase sales and you're going to increase client retention by sending stuff like this out in reports. You're only going to have to do this once per service. Once you do it once per service, you're done. Okay? You can reuse it in reporting, proposals, line items, new proposals, and invoices. Do it once, get it done, and it's going to pay for itself hand over fist forever. Okay? Really solid stuff. So get stuff like that implemented, guys. The Claude Hopkins experience. Last thing I want to talk to you guys about is the ultimate frame. Okay, so this is huge, and I tell people, a lot of people, I guess I kind of, I started getting known for being a good salesman. Okay, a lot of people around me, they see me close crazy deals. I mean, I closed deals for equity in companies, a bunch of those recently. I still have a awesome personal record where I did 120K in 10 days. I was looking to break that. One of these days I'll have to, put my head down and get that broken. But, people started recognizing me as like a good salesman, right? At the end of the day, I'm not the best salesman. And I guess here's the thing. A salesman is someone who can get results, who can offer value in exchange for money. So I'll take a compliment if someone wants to give it to me. I guess I'm decent at it. But a lot of times when someone's going to judge the effectiveness of someone's sales expertise, it's like they're expecting someone like Grant Cardone, right? Where you have guys that are saying, listen, we're just not interested, and this guy's on him, and he ends up getting like a $4,000 or $5,000 sale at the end of the call. And that's cool. Like, I honestly, if you put Grant Cardone and I in a room, I'm sure he'll outsell me. That's if not, we have a problem, because a lot of his material is based on teaching people how to become some of the best salespeople in the business. Again, you have guys like Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, right? I'm sure if we're in a room together, the guy's going to outsell me. What I am confident of, okay, is I'm going to have a lot less refunds than those guys, okay? I'm going to have a lot less guilt purchases. I'm going to have a lot more people that'll buy from me in the future because, I didn't guilt them into not, to buying the product. So when you see guys doing that, like the rapid sales systems and the hard closes, I, it's cool. I'd love to see what their refund rate looks like. I'd love if they just were transparent, and maybe it's not as bad as I'm assuming, right? I don't do those type of sales, so there's a chance I'm just completely wrong. I'm being presumptuous, okay? Let me be transparent and say I'm being presumptuous. I don't have hard data on that stuff, but I have a gut feeling from a lot of the sales that I've done that if you're telling a business owner where they say, hey, we're not sure if we're ready for this. And you say, like, listen, you're a loser. Like, your family's going to laugh at you at the dinner table tonight because you're not bringing home the bacon. I can help you do that, right? I can get a sale out of someone if you want to be a complete dick and put it all on the line and guilt someone into a sale. But I'd love to see how many of those people stick, right? Like, if they can't get an ROI super quick, or one little thing goes wrong, they're going to drop, they're going to request refunds. I like doing a whole different type of sale. So I tell people, you can get into the science of sales, where it's a ton of psychological triggers that go as deep as like the tone of your voice, right? Tonality is huge in sales. I know Jordan Belfort teaches a lot of that. Here's my thing. I want to tell people I'm not a salesman, right? I want to say, like, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not here to sell you something. I'm here to see if it makes sense for us to work together. I'm seeing if we can both offer each other value, and we can grow together. And that's the end of it. Having said that, so when I do teach people sales, which isn't something I do a lot of, because I'm not a sales guru, right? But I try to tell them to keep it simple. There's a few things that you have to put in a process to create a sale, and it's not scientific, right? And one of the biggest things I like to use is the frame, right? I like to frame my deal against a lot of other things. So I'm going to go through a couple of the frames. I call this the ultimate frame section, and then we're going to wrap up with some questions. If you guys want to do some Q&A, we'll just chat about some sales tactics or some client acquisition, whatever you guys want to do. But the ultimate frame, I'm going to give you guys a bunch of examples, and this is just a small list in a deep sea of this stuff, okay? So if you want to say, hey, we're just excuse me. So for this one, let's say we want to charge $3,000 a month or $2,500 a month, whatever. We came to the price. We always want to frame that number off something, even if we have the person sold. It's nice to frame that, and it's like, listen, and this 60K can dramatically increase based on the area, the geography of the client. If they're out in Orange County or something, you can take that 60K and turn it to 120 plus. Okay, you can easily double the numbers. But let's say we're in just a smaller area, like in my area, a marketing director, like someone who's going to be in-house, they're going to make about 60K a year, about 5K a month, okay? And I know that because I know some marketing directors in my area. So, having said that, if I want to charge $2,500 a month, I have to say, listen, if you hire one guy in-house, you're not promised any results, okay? You're going to cover benefits. You're going to cover, sick days, vacation days, and he's just one guy. For half the price, you get my entire team working tirelessly for you month in and month out to get you the results you need to get an ROI from my service. Are we ready to do business? Or I'm trying to save you 50% right now, okay? So that's huge. We're $2,500 a month. You might be one of the most expensive businesses he got a proposal from, he or she. But when positioned like that, like, listen, you're getting my entire team month in, month out. You it's we're gonna not only outwork one person, but we're doing so at 50% of the cost, 50% of the investment, right? So that's a cool place to start. You can always kind of go the other route as well, where it's, hiring an experienced labor for like 15 an hour is going to run you 2,400 a month. So let's say I want to give them a deal for like 2,250, right? It's like if you hire a $15 an hour guy, you're not getting results with him. He's gonna do clerical work, right? He's going to be doing data entry. He's going to be doing social posting for less money than this, or the same amount of money for 2250, where you save 150 bucks a month. We're going to guarantee you results within 6 months, and these results are going to directly correlate to an ROI over the next 9 to 12 months. Okay, so how you position that is like, you know, if someone were to hire people to do our job, could they do that? Could they hire someone that could come in house and guarantee them these results? And we went two different angles there, where one, you have like a director who's making a little bit more money, and on the lower end, it's, inexperienced labor, you're 10, 15 an hour, and you can bounce that around, right? You can always modify this where you're like, hey, I'm working less than a minimum wage guy for you, or this or that. Just be careful with the positioning, because we don't want to start getting into like hourly billing. You want to stay away from that. But we're creating a framework, okay? Basically, the concept here is to make people say, hey, his price isn't that bad. Let's continue on. So if you want to do like price-centric competitiveness, which, it's easy to sit in a Facebook group and say, hey, we don't price based on our competitors. We're a different type of experience. We're delivering this, this, and that, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, if you are, and I know a lot of you are, pricing based on a price-centric model where it's like, your competition, you want to try to undercut the competition, and you can say, listen, I know SEO.com charges 10,000 a month. I'm 75% cheaper, and they don't guarantee results like I do. Are you ready to get busy? Like, are you ready to grow this thing together? You know, it's it's solid. We have another one where bundles. These work really, really well. So if you take, again, you have your line items, and you break all of those line items out, and you say, listen, this will typically cost 10K, right? If you buy each of these individual, and if you only want to buy the organic package, and you don't want me to work on your local GMB, or you want me to work on the local GMB, but you don't want us to do, any of the content syndication, or you don't want the guaranteed rankings on organic, or you don't want any of the paid options, whether it's AdWords or you know a Facebook campaign, any of that stuff, that's fine. Then you can buy one for X price. But all these services together, they typically cost 10K. We can get started for 5. You're saving 50%, and it's just so much easier. If you guys see the what we're going for here, it just makes it so much easier to frame your price. I was on a. Oh, we'll do this one quick. Sorry. Whoops. Okay, so this one's really cool. This one works really, really well. Is if you have like a base package that costs 2,500 a month, and then say you have like a base plus a ton of extras, right? And use your line items that we just talked about, where a base package might have a few things, and this base package with a ton of extras. Let's say it has like 3 times the amount of line items, and it's only $99 more per month, right? It's beautiful. Framing like that is huge. People are going to jump on that all day long, and it could be as simple as breaking out the line items better. A lot of it could be perception, where you're not throwing a ton of extra cash at this, right? Where the $99 might be all the extra you throw at it, and they're just that much more eager to sign up for $25.99 a month, if that makes sense. So another example of this, we were on a sales call with someone who wanted to do a bunch of funnel building for us, and he actually went over the line with it, but I had to chuckle. I had to laugh when it happened, because like I said, I do sales, and I knew what he was doing. And hey he said, hey, if you were, can you guys hear me now? I just saw the messages about no audio. Oh man, wonder how long was audio out, guys? Let me know. Do I need to run back through? About 10 seconds. Okay, that's not bad. Thanks for letting me know though, guys. Okay, cool. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Paul, Brian, Wayne, Scott, Van Man. Nice. All right. Sorry. So, the guy says, if you got Tony Robbins to build these funnels, it would cost $1 million. Right? And the total price of the funnel, he had like two packages. One was like 10,000, one was 15,000. And it was just, in my opinion, he went too far, right? He went too far up the ladder, but it was just funny where it's like he was framing. He was framing because obviously 10 and 15,000 it's peanuts compared to a million, and obviously I'm not paying Tony Robbins to build my funnel. It doesn't matter what he charges, but it is what it is. I just think it's funny. So that's basically something I love to include in the sale, guys. Frame your price against something else. Make your price seem more attractive, and the higher your price, the more the more outrageous you can get. If you're charging 100 grand for something, or if you're charging a big piece of equity, you can say like, listen, a lot of people will throw you some capital and they'll take X amount of equity. I'm telling you, not only can I help with some capital, but I'm also going to handle the marketing of it. I'm going to save us a few $100,000 a year plus bring some capital to the table for this percent. It doesn't matter how big the deal gets, you can always use a framework to kind of make your offer seem that much better. um, Tony Robbins uses Russell Brunson. Yeah, I'm sure he does, but regardless, $1 million. I feel like the frame was crazy, right? Um, I feel like the frame was crazy, but regardless, we actually did sign up with the guy. We tested him out to build some funnels. It was a terrible experience, but that's neither here nor there. So that's what I have for today, guys. Like I said, I wanted to keep it, as short as possible. With even starting a little late, we took about 30 minutes. I want to give plenty of times for you guys to ask questions. So if you guys do have any questions, any comments, you want to, cut it up about some sales stuff, you want to have a chat about it, you can drop them below. We'll get busy. If not, we can always cut it short. We can reconvene tomorrow and go over some other stuff and have some fun. So, I'll give a few minutes for anyone to drop some questions. If not, I will see you guys tomorrow. Mark, are we getting a copy of that document you showed off for GMB? In the replay, if you can just, I can't really give the doc away. I guess I could, but is that what you do for GMB? I stole that from Web 20 Ranker, to be honest. And that Web 20 Ranker is my team, so that's what we do. I guess I can hand that out. It's not a big deal, but you want to try to make it specific to what you're actually going to do. But I'm fine with sharing it. Excellent stuff. Thanks a lot, Patrick. Good stuff. Thanks for the kind words, Alan. Alex Barman, I'm sorry you had some issues with the audio and freezing. Seems like GoToWebinar is just not doing well today, if I'm being honest. Little confused on GMB offer. Was that something free or giving away to bring in the client? No, it doesn't matter. The only thing with the GMB, I'll actually scroll back to that. The only thing we're doing is positioning the service. So if you give it away for free, you give it away for free. But if you charge $1,000 for it with all of these line items, it's easy to charge $1,000 for it. Basically, the whole idea there is just to position the service. Any service you have, it doesn't matter if it's GMB, it doesn't matter what it is, right? It doesn't matter if it's link building, just page one guarantee rankings, whatever. Break all of it out into larger line items and use it in invoicing, proposals, reporting, just so instead of this, if you can still see my screen, instead of saying, hey, we did local GMB optimization this month, we did this. If you guys can kind of see the difference and how that works. Alex, I do believe you might be the only one with it. Everyone said my audio cut out for about 10 seconds, but it seems like everyone regained audio within about 10 seconds. So, again, I'm very sorry, man. I hope hopefully on the replay, there's not a lot of missing audio, so you can see what you missed. Sorry again, man. GoToWebby sucks. Yeah, absolutely, Derek. If you plan on using Web 20 Ranker, you can snag whatever you want. We're actually in the really cool stuff. We're actually in the process for Web 20 Ranker making sales and marketing materials for you guys to use. LCT is kind of just like I mean, you guys can always use Web 20, but we want to actually scale up and be the backbone of some larger SEO agencies and marketing companies around the country. So we're kind of pivoting and making a more white label service. We're giving people sales materials. We're giving people just everything, more tools, better reporting platforms they can use through us. Just we're trying to get all that stuff just to the next level from an aesthetic perspective, from a reporting perspective, from a sales and marketing perspective for you guys or whoever's going to be reselling the service. So you can absolutely snag it. And like I said, just be prepared in the following weeks. We're going to have a lot more stuff. Excuse me, that you guys can use for your sales and your marketing and stuff. Laura, where can we find the GMB? Can you be more specific, please? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm sorry. You have to package it right, then set your price. Completely agree. Everything's based on perceived value, right? So if I say, hey, here's local GMB optimization, that doesn't mean anything to me. Now, considering even knowing what goes into local GMB, everyone's going to perform the service differently, right? Everyone's going to say, okay, we do this, this, and this. Someone else might do all these line items, right? But if I just break that out, that has a lot more perceived value. Guys, this is the same thing. This is the local package from Web 20, local GMB optimization, local GMB optimization. It's the exact same thing. Which one would you pay more? For which one would you pay a lot more money? This one, absolutely. There's no question about it. It's all about perceived value. Everything you buy is perceived value, almost, right? No, I'll go as far as saying everything's perceived value because even if you buy a dollar burger from McDonald's, the value in that isn't the quality of the food, but the speed, right? The ease of which you can get cheap food. So you're seeing its perceived value. If I have, which, man, I haven't eaten McDonald's in so long, but if I say, hey, I have like 2 minutes to stop and grab something through a drive-through, and for whatever reason, I'm scraping nickels off the floor of my car. That has a value to me, right? I see a value in that other people might not. So everything you're going to sell or buy is going to be based on perceived value. Why not increase your chances of closing sales and charging more by creating more perceived value for your prospects, right? Is there a good source to look over example proposals so we can pick and choose how we'd like to form ours? You know what? I should do some stuff on proposals, but if you want a good starting point, if you jump over to webris.org, webris.org, that's my buddy Ryan Stewart's site. He also has a Facebook group and stuff. In one of his blog posts, he gives you his proposal download, and he was saying that he was really doing well with client work and stuff. So I actually swiped his proposal and modified it a few times. And I used that a bunch of times. And I'd say I had pretty good results with it. So that's a good place to start. And because of how the proposal's set up, it gives you a lot of flexibility to add like a ton of these line items in, right? Having said that, I use softwares like Proposal. Oh my goodness, what's it called? Proposally. I could just be lying about the name of that software. But I used a bunch of different stuff, guys. At the end of the day, I like something that offers a lot of flexibility, something like on a PowerPoint platform where you can have a designer come in and make it look pretty and, gives you a lot of room just to add a ton of stuff without kind of, going overboard or overwhelming people. Um, uh, awesome. Thanks a lot, Dave. Thanks, Patrick. Um, Web 20 Rankos should get an info newsletter together. Um, what do you mean, Patrick? I'm not 100% sure on what you mean, but if you can, I'd love to hear more about it. We're definitely taking suggestions. To make Anything we can do to make your guys' lives easier, to make our lives easier, that's what we're gunning for in Web 20. And LCT too, just LCT's more, providing a lot more of the information instead of the services. Um, so we're open to implementing anything and everything as long as it's going to provide value for you guys and you know make sense for us, if that makes sense. Um, Ryan, what that Emma? That's Ryan Stewart. Sorry, I didn't realize I didn't give his last name. I just gave you guys very little content. But yeah, it's Ryan Stewart. It's webris.org, webris.org, and he has he has a bunch of like I said, you can actually swipe his proposal template. Sorry. Uh, Proposify. Thanks, Wayne. Greetings from Costa Rica. What's up, Andres? Good to see you. Have you addressed client getting techniques in any of your webinars? Hunter, we're actually we're a little new at the Webby thing for LCT. That's typically something we reserved for LPB. Having said that, we have a bunch of client acquisition stuff in local profit breakthrough. That's our monthly paid. It's $37 a month or $297 a year. I like your I like to keep as much of the client stuff in there. That is one thing I would say that's one of my core competencies. I'm really good at growing big agencies, so a lot of the stuff in there, I like to keep for the paid members. So I don't mind giving lots of free value where I can, but I'm not sure I'm going to do a lot of stuff on a lot of different client acquisitions. Having said that, we are going to do a Webby where we may or may not be entertaining reopening LCT Boot just because of how much everyone loved that concept, and they were just generating. Oh man, I don't know. Matt's in the off. People were just generating like hundreds of leads from that, right? I mean, it was insane. So we're entertaining opening that back up. We might have a Webby with Rob and stuff next week just to mess around with that. If so, that would be a good Webby to attend for client acquisition type stuff, Hunter, for sure. It's a pretty simple concept, and it's just great if you don't have. And I'm not saying you do or do not have capital. I don't know you, but especially for people that don't have a ton of capital to invest into acquisition, it's a really good place to get started. Excuse me for 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. You're fast. Thank you, Emma. Thank you. Emma said thank you, and I thanked her back. Brian said thanks for the valuable info. Have a great evening. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate. Hopefully I could add some value to you guys. Brian Stewart's website is the Craigslist Queen. Hey, how are you? LPB, right? Yep, localprofitbreakthrough.com. I have to self-plug some things on these value webbies, right, guys? Hope you guys can't hate me too much, but, I may or may not drop in a few companies I own on each webby. I mean, still good value. It's not a sales-centric webby, but go to web20ranker.com and localclienttakeover.com and buy all of our stuff, and we'll end on that note. I'm kidding. But I mean, I'm not kidding, but obviously it's not a sales Webby. But yeah, guys, listen. If you didn't catch all the Webby, grab the replay. Yes, Wayne, everything. I'm even getting them transcribed and breaking them into mini posts. The Webbies, based on the reaction we've had, the Webbies are probably going to be a big part of our content marketing moving forward. So we will not only offer the replays on YouTube and on the blog, but we're working on transcriptions and mini posts, kind of showcasing some of the things we talk about in the Webbies. Just, we want to try to make as much content for you guys as possible, but also make it as consumable as possible as well. So I know some people don't have an hour or 2 hours to run through a Webby, so we're trying to break it up into more concise and consumable pieces and make those available for you guys. And we want to, really just uphold a high level of integrity with the content we create and how you guys consume it. So absolutely. That was a really long-winded answer just to say yes, but I hope you guys love me for it. I am going to cut this short. We'll get the replay up for you guys. Guys, use this stuff. It's really solid. Like I said, I'm not exaggerating. I have nothing to sell on this Webby. So, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not giving you a number just so you can be like, wow, I'm going to buy his stuff now. I've sold millions of dollars worth of stuff, okay, services. I just took equity in multiple businesses in the past few months. It's what I do. I'm moving more in that direction. So I promise you guys, if you're going to do selling, use this stuff. I'm going to teach you some more stuff tomorrow. we'll continue doing webbies and having some fun. But definitely, guys, put this stuff into action and let me know the results. It will work for you. I'm not a special case. Like, I'm not a Grant Cardone. I'm not a Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not some just gifted sales guru who can do millions of dollars in sales based on some unspoken natural talent. It's just not. It's not how it is. So use this stuff and put it into action and make some money with it, guys. Yeah, absolutely, Wayne. Absolutely, man. Just trying to push more value, you know. But all right, guys. Thanks a lot for coming. Sorry about the technical issues in the beginning. We'll get the replay up. Go take action and make some cash. See you, LC Tears.